I hate that. That's the worst feeling.
Okay, to be continued. The story of my hip went to sleep. You think that isn't funny. You get up and try to walk and you're just like you're drunk. All right, we're rolling? Okay. Jo Beth, of all the people I knew I was going to talk with, I really looked forward to talking with you because here we are, a couple of Texas chicks sitting around talking, if I may paraphrase a play you once did.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and you did come through and we talked about endangered species when you were in Dallas, and so I really looked forward to talking with you about The Big Chill. The movie, I think, is going to be a big hit.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes, and I liked very much your role in this. Where do you place this role as far as if we talk about poltergeist and endangered species and The Big Chill? Is it like number 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, it's hard to say because it's so different. They're all so different. Poltergeist was a larger role and was demanding in different ways, physically demanding for one thing. But the thing I love the most about The Big Chill is getting to work with a group of wonderful actors. And it's very rare now to be able to do a movie in which you have 8 terrific actors and a real ensemble feeling. And that is the sort of magic of what acting's about, being able to work off of other terrific actors. So this was very special for me.
It's amazing that Lawrence Kasdan was able to get all of you 8 people together at the same time. I assume you were all at the same time, people not coming and going.
Oh, no, we were all there right from the beginning. We had 4 weeks of rehearsal and 2 months of shooting, and every one of us was there till the bitter end. It is very rare to get that kind of group of people together, but I think the opportunity was so good, it was too good to pass up. I mean, I know all of us had been offered other things, and we turned things down in order to do it. First of all, Larry Kasdan is a brilliant writer and a brilliant director, and the script, I think, is a jewel. It's beautifully constructed. And most of us have done theater, and this was an opportunity to be in a theater-like situation with a rehearsal process. So it looked real good. There was no way not to do it.
How is Kasdan different from Spielberg as far as when he's directing you in a scene? How is he different?
Well, Larry is very, very patient, and he brings to it the writer's point of view because he is also a writer. He really left us alone to a large degree to get to know each other, to play around, to do improvisations, to create scenes between ourselves that sort of gave a history to the characters. And he knew always exactly the right word to say, well, try this or try that, and then he would just let us take the ball and run with it, let us fly. Stephen is very technically oriented because he knows cameras and effects and lighting and everything so well. And Stephen also left me pretty much alone in Poltergeist. I think he's less used to dealing with actors in the acting of scenes than he is with cameras and angles and movement of camera and things.
Yeah, maybe Stephen sees the picture aspect, whereas maybe Kasdan thinks more in terms of what's being said and how it's being said.
Absolutely.
Would that sum it up?
Mm-hmm. Perfectly, yes. He's more involved in the characters themselves than how they overall look.
Jo Beth, I know you're from Houston, but I really don't know much about how you grew up. I just wonder in the 60s what you were like.
Well, I went away to college in the 60s. I went east to school, to Brown University, and I lived in a big house with a group of friends very similar to the group in The Big Chill. So it's a story I can relate to very much. I was involved in the anti-war movement. I went to peace marches and got tear gassed in Washington and did a lot of guerrilla theater, what we call guerrilla theater, which was anti-war kind of theater. I was very idealistic. I was very into music, which was a very potent influence on all of us then. And I think one of the great things about this movie is the use of music in it and how it brings back that period, that era so strongly.
Did you have a favorite song of that time or recording?
Yeah, I had a number. The Beatles, to me, personify that era. I mean, when I first heard Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, it blew my mind, as we used to say. It was like a whole different style of music, a whole different feeling, a different kind of music. And it was so thrilling. And to this day, when I hear that album, I get a little buzz of excitement in my stomach because it reminds me so much of those days. I was very happy back then.
Are you, excuse me, do you now consider yourself sort of establishment?
Oh, I think so. I think I've become an old fogey. No, to a degree, yes, because I'm in the mainstream of the business. I'm in the commercial side of the business. I'm not doing avant-garde theater somewhere. I don't believe that means that I've given up my artistic ideals. I mean, I still try to do the best work possible and good projects. But I think because I'm an actress, I've become sort of focused on my career, and I've lost a little of that kind of feeling for humanity that I had back then, which I think is sort of sad. I hope that the time will come when I will feel secure enough in my career that I'll be able to devote more time to things outside of it.
Would you do things like Jane Fonda does, you know, get involved like that?
Absolutely. I think it's very important in your own life. I think it's a kind of fulfillment because we are all part of the society and we should all be participants in it.
Well, JoBeth, again, I want to tell you, you're just wonderful in the film.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I seem to have a frog. Jeremiah has invaded my throat at the moment. But anyway, it's lovely to see you again, and I hope you'll come back to see us in Dallas.
Oh, I will.
Okay,
I will.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobbie.
Neat interview, very good interview.
Would.
I'll give you some reactions first. And sound. Of your three roles, Poltergeist, Endangered Species, and Big Chill, how would you rate them 1, 2, 3? Okay. What were you like in the 60s? Can you relate to this character you play? How does Larry Kasdan differ in directing a scene from Steven Spielberg? Would you say that maybe Steven is more concerned with the picture and the visual aspects, whereas Kasdan is more concerned with what's being said and how you're saying it? Would that sum it up? Did you have a favorite song or recording during the 60s? Do you think you're more establishment now? Okay. Does anybody else think of anything I left out? Okay. All right.